The following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Ohio.
The defending champions of Lima Central Catholic and Josh Dixon have another shot to back up their state championship of a year ago. And once again, they'll have to face Brian Parker and the tough-minded Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph. Hardware at stake in Division-3. Energy level supreme. Are you all set? Lima Central Catholic, Villa Angela St. Joseph, right now on Sports Time, Ohio. Oh, there is a ring of familiarity to decide a Division-3 state championship. The Ohio High School Athletic Association. Come on inside Value City Arena here at Columbus. Does it look familiar from a year ago? It should. The defending champion T-Birds of Lima Central Catholic. The tough-minded Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph. Great to see all of you, everybody. Delighted you're with us. Michael Reghi, my partner, former Ohio State Buckeye, Matt Sylvester. Yes, there is a very familiar look to this. They met in here for the state title of Division-3 a year ago. Lima Central Catholic with the win. How does all of that affect, or does it, what will happen here in the next 32 minutes today?
Reg, revenge is a dish best served cold. VASJ, they've had a year to sit around and stew and think about the upset that was pulled by Lima Central Catholic last year. I think the edge goes to VSJ with the mental wise. They can't wait. They're chomping at the bit to get back at LCC this year.
64-62, Frank Kill Squad celebrated and cut down the nets after Brian Parker's hoist at the buzzer did not connect. All right, let's start with Lima Central Catholic. Their senior man in the middle, Jake Williams, a stalwart Division-3 tournament team a year ago. He's the heartbeat, the heart and soul of the squad.
He really is. He's got the headband going. He's rocking the old school YMCA game. Not an above the rim player, but a guy that's always in the right place, makes the hustle plays, uses his energy and his physicality around the rim. Gonna need a huge effort from him tonight against that giant interior of VASJ.
You said it very aptly, my friend. Giant interior paced by 6'10", All-Ohioan, All-American, heading to the University of Kansas. Carlton Bragg has the capabilities to dominate on both ends of the floor.
He's got the full game. The guy can go deep into the repertoire. He knocks them down from deep. He gets to the rim. He posterizes you, but he's most dangerous, as you see right there, in transition, getting the rack going coast to coast.
Carlton Bragg and his buddies from Villa Angela St. Joseph. They want to erase what happened to them a year ago, and it was Lima Central Catholic that dealt them the championship game defeat. Settle back and enjoy it, everybody. We're about set to go from Value City Arena. Lima Central Catholic, Villa Angela St. Joe, D3 title right around the corner. Value City Arena, all roads, championship-wise, lead to this beautiful all-purpose venue here in the campus of Ohio State University in Columbus. You've come to the right place because there's state championships being decided all day long. 4 divisions. We've already crowned in Division 4 the new Madison Tri-Village Patriots, who capitalized on what was a Colton Linkus jumper, and that was just less than 2 seconds to go to beat Harvest Prep and win a Division 4 state crown. As you see Carlton Bragg and the rest of his Villa Angela St. Joseph teammates being introduced here in anticipation, this large crowd gets ready for Thunderbirds of Lima Central Catholic and the Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph. 2 outstanding coaches, good friends. All right, and there was an injury concern for Lima Central Catholic involving their outstanding junior Trey Cobbs, our 3rd member of our telecast team. Andre Knott. What's Cobb's condition, Dre? You ready to go?
He's going to try to get out here and play. So everybody watch number 5, Trey Cobbs, early on in the game. He's dislocated this shoulder 3 times in the last 5 weeks. Yesterday at the team hotel, they had a chiropractor working with him. When it started off, guys, he couldn't raise his hand above his shoulder. But as they continued working with him, he decided he wanted to play. He's got some strength in it. They're going to watch him closely. Other than Coach Kill said is, look, we're undersized, but we're going to go at their big size and try to get them in foul trouble early. We'll see if they can do that as this game gets ready to rock and roll.
All right, Andre, we appreciate it. Andre will be patrolling around both benches, and we'll get you all the flavor during the course of this one. Settle back and enjoy it, everybody. We're all set to go. Tip presented by the good folks at Time Warner Cable. As we're on go inside Value City Arena, you enjoy it as we'll get you the hoop this afternoon and decide a Division-3 state championship. Right away, Carlton Bragg looking for that high lob from Vaughn Mo Johnson. That did not connect, so early on turnover on the first possession for Villa Angela St. Joseph.
VASJ looking to come out and make a splash, set the little back screen on the right wing, looking to get a lob dunk to start it and get themselves going.
The aforementioned Trey Cobbs on the miss. Look at Brian Parker on the dash, and that follow flush from Carlton Bragg.
Great job by Carlton Bragg, not giving up on the play. Thought his running mate Brian Parker had an easy layup, didn't quit on it, got himself a monster tip dunk to get himself going early here.
Thunderbirds of Lima Central Catholic. And that tough, very emotional run to a tournament championship in 2014. This is Jake Williams. His stick back will go. The stick-to-itiveness from the senior leader, Jake Williams.
Give a lot of credit there to Trey Cobbs. Came back, he's got the injury looming on his mind, got into the paint, got right by Brian Parker, dropped a nice little pass to Jake Williams and stayed with it off the block.
Vaughn Mo Johnson along with Brian Parker and Babe Wozniak's backcourt. Pretty look at Derek Pardon. Rocked that rim off the Vaughn Mo Johnson dish.
3 possessions, 2 dunks by VASJ. That was the name of the game in the semifinal. It was like a highlight reel of dunks. It was crazy.
Derek Pardon had his hand in the passing lane, and that jumper from Dantez Walton wouldn't go. Keep an eye on Walton, number 32 in that metallic silver. Lima Central Catholic averages 16 a game, deluxe offensive player.
Right now, watch for Lima Central Catholic. Looks like they are going under ball screens on Mo Johnson. They're going to dare him to knock down some perimeter shots, try to keep him in contain mode.
Simon Texador with that sweet stroke from deep. Young man could fill it up. Matty, that was out near the slash mark about 28 feet away.
It was, and he is one of the best shooters in the state of Ohio. There's no way you can close out short to him. You got to get all the way there with high hands.
Yeah, Texador, the 6'2" senior. Don't you love the hoop name? Simon Texador.
Strong.
If you and I come back as hoopsters, I want that name.
I'm with you on that one.
Dantez Walton will tee it up and knock out the 3. Right on cue. I just said what a deluxe offensive performer he is. Got a real fluid offensive game, doesn't he?
He really does. He can really do a little bit of everything. Knocking down threes, not what you want to see him doing all night, but he's capable. Seeing one go in early might be a big thing for Lima Central Catholic to get their confidence going when your best player knocks some shots down early.
That's Carlton Bragg. He got hurried by Jake Williams. Williams 6'3", giving up a lot of size, but he's got that middle linebacker body. On that slash to the rim, Trey Cobbs didn't finish. Parker on the sprint. Brian Parker. That's what you're going to get at Marist, where he'll play his collegiate basketball. What a finish from Parker. Tafflinger cannot hit the triple.
Shades of D'Angelo Russell there on that Brian Parker finish. Smooth, lefty finish. And then on the other side, he saw Trey Cobbs get into the rack, had a wide open lip. You wonder if that shoulder's bothering him. He didn't get very good lift with that shoulder.
Bragg down in his office got bothered by Dantez Walton. Walton right now at 6'4" with the assignment on Bragg. You like that matchup from Lima Central Catholic's side of things?
I think it's the way you have to go. I think you got to have Williams on Pardon, who's working down low here. That was just too easy there. If you let him get 2 feet in the paint, you're buried.
Yeah, I like your call there, Matty, as Derek Pardon showing you that improved footwork fundamentally with that drop step on the take to the hoop. And making that happen for Lima Central Catholic, going strong. Josh Dixon with a bucket. Pardon couldn't get a second jump hook to fall, and we got a whistle and a push that is going to go on Carlton Bragg. Well, Carlton Bragg will pick up his first, but it was Bragg who cleaned up with that strong throwdown off the miss, and then Dantez Walton's triple. Villa Angela St. Joe by 4. Just underway as we decide a Division-3 state championship. So terrific to have all of you involved today as Villa Angela St. Joseph out to the 4-point lead. Let's take a look at our starting lineups at 10 on the floor, presented by Time Warner Cable. Trey Cobb's giving it a go today, and that is a wonderful sign for Lima Central Catholic fans after the separated shoulder throughout the tournament. Keep an eye on Josh Dixon and Dantez Walton. They'll need to supply scoring support. The big is, of course, Jake Williams. And how about the job that Frank Kill has done? Won the state championship back in 2014, and this is a team that are going to play tough on the defensive end and offensively very disciplined and run their offense very, very succinctly.
You said it, Reg, not a lot of waste in motion, very efficient offensive team. And Coach Kill, guy's just been around winning, man. He's won a state championship as a player, Lincoln View 1997, as an assistant at LCC in 2010, and last year did it, of course, well, as head coach of LCC.
Sure, as we look at our starting lineup, the 5 on the floor for Babe Kwasniak in Villa Angela St. Joseph. It's like a who's who of Division I college hoopsters. Brian Parker, Carlton Bragg, Derek Parton, all going to play Division I college basketball. Might include Simon Texador and Vaughn Mo Johnson as well. For Babe Kwasniak, won a state championship as a player here 2 times over for his father, Teddy Kwasniak, who is now on the floor with him. All you need to know about Babe Kwasniak, West Point, folks, United States Military Academy, and that is something very, very special. Played college basketball as he attended West Point.
Gotta love the swag over there. Coach Kwasniak's got the red shoes working, and I love what he said in the teleconference. Sometimes with a team this talented, less coaching is more.
That is rejected on the way to the rim by Trevon Williams-Scruggs, who's on the floor. Now that deep 3 from Josh Dixon wouldn't fall as an empty trip. As you look at Babe Kwasniak, yeah, resplendent, as we said, in the Villa Angela St. Joseph colors. And you're right, got the red footwear sporting today on that VA St. Joe bench.
Little ball screen here by Parton. Oh, Texador settled for a quick shot. Good contest there by Josh Dixon, and the leak out.
Run out for Dixon. Texador contest. Count it. One more coming from the line. The N1 for Josh Dixon on the Simon Texador Villa Angela St. Joseph foul.
That's the type of stuff that Jake Williams is so good at. He secures the rebound, gets it over to his point guard all the way up the floor. Big time finish there by Dixon. Harman the foul and 1.
Strong finish from Dixon. He had 11 points in the semifinal win for Lima Central Catholic as they beat Dayton Chaminade Julienne. That was a good one, 55-50 here on Thursday in the semis. Dixon not able to convert the 3-point trip. On the floor now is Jeff Brzezinski, the 6'3" senior, wears number 12 for Villa Angela St. Joseph.
Looks like early here, Central Catholic, they're doubling down on that post. Whether it's Parton, whether it's Bragg, when those guys catch it, they are there on the catch, which is a smart move with the size advantage.
Yeah, Brzezinski got in trouble, turned it over. Josh Dixon on the rip away. So a couple of the bench bunch on the floor right now for Babe Kwasniak as we near the 2-minute mark here in the opening quarter. Derek Parton absolutely denied Trey Cobbs. Texador to raise and ring up that deep 3.
Texador can really shoot that ball. VASJ so dangerous in transition. Texador, not your classic jump shot, more of a set shot, but if you let him get those feet set and get that thing teed up, it's nothing but bottoms.
He does not need a lot of daylight either.
Doesn't. Efficient shooter.
Good catch and fire guy. The lead is 5 for Villa Angela St. Joseph. Trey Cobbs again. 6'1" junior, separated his shoulder, only played a minute in the semis and then had the lead for the rest of the day on Thursday. Great look inside and the delivery off glass from Ethan O'Connor, 6'3" junior, off Frank Kill's bench on the quick deuce.
Cobbs is such a good playmaker. They gave him a little double screen, little double ball screen, give him a choice to go right or left. Went left, dropped a nice little dime down low.
Brzezinski, a little bit too strong on that rainbow triple. Dantez Walton will attack the cup to bring Lima Central Catholic's defending champs at D3 back to within one. Babe Kwasniak needs a Villa Angela St. Joseph timeout.
Coach Kwasniak didn't look too happy there on the sideline. And all you're seeing from Lima Central Catholic is straight line drives, which tells me that VASJ, they're not closing out. They don't have that weight back, the short choppy steps. They're just getting blown by for easy opportunities at the rim right now.
As we look at Walton, remember this now. A lot of people thought that state championship, and many around the state called it an upset last year, right? As Lima Central Catholic beat the heavily favored Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph 64-62. But Maddie, there's 9 letter winners back on Frank Gill's squad. Let's have a look at the all-time and all divisions championship titles and tradition-rich, legendary programs. Jerry Lucas and the Middies of Middletown. Of course, LeBron James with 3 of them with Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. But do not discount this tradition here. Mike Moran started it, now the coach at John Carroll, Division-3 at Cleveland. Of course, Teddy Kwasniak, 5 state titles for Villa Angela St. Joseph.
And now he's on the bench with his son, Babe. That's got to be a pretty special experience there.
Beautiful story. Carlton Bragg, as he capped off that high look from his big frontline partner, Derek Pardon, for the bucket for St. Joseph.
There's nothing more LCC could have done there. They had 4 guys in the paint. Pardon just too big, too strong, went up on top of everybody, snatched it and finished it.
Cameron White wears number 42 in that metallic silver now on the floor for Lima Central Catholic, 6'1" senior. Trey Cobb's going to handle out near the timeline as we come to 25 seconds left in the first. White readjusted that, double clutched it, and finished off glass.
Wow, they just let Cobbs there go off of a sideline ball screen from right to left. Jeff Grodzinski, they were trying to switch, just didn't have the foot speed to keep Cobbs in front. Great attack at the rim.
The lead is 1 with 5 seconds left. Vaughn Mo Johnson going to unload. Missed it wide left. Exactly what we expected, folks. That's why you got to stay locked and lotus with us. 8 minutes in the books. Off the bench, Cameron White delivering for Lima Central Catholic. Villa Angela St. Joe's lead is 1. Another terrific presentation from the OHSAA Division-3 State Championship. Pretty exciting first 8 minutes. Villa Angela St. Joe on top of Lima Central Catholic by 1. Andre Knott, tell us more about the OHSAA.
Yes, I'm with Assistant Commissioner Jerry Snodgrass. Always fun to catch up with you, Jerry. You know, the fun thing is that you did this week. You're on Twitter. You're one of those Twitterers. You were twittering old scorebook cards from years past. Just tell about the joy you had in doing that.
Well, you know, first of all, being a former coach, I'm a basketball junkie. I'm a historical junkie. I started looking through scorebooks. We have back till 1927. And I would see scores in there or score sheets and went out there, and then all of a sudden people would tweet back. They remembered where they were sitting. They remembered the game. And I think it just really puts a perspective on how historical and how monumental and memory-making these games are.
Absolutely. Another great weekend of action so far. Any team that's jumped out to you that's been fun to watch?
Well, you know, I used to coach in Defiance, and I have to root for all teams, but I love the way in which they've won their game and stayed in a game in order to get to this level.
We'll watch them a little bit later on. Appreciate the time, Jerry. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. You guys too.
All right, back to you, Michael.
Yeah, I knew Coach Snodgrass was a hoop junkie. Look at him. He's going to all the books from back to 1927. That's phenomenal. As we start quarter number 2, great to have you along. Michael Reghi, Matt Sylvester, the former Ohio State Buckeye, and Andre Knott with us. That's Trey Cobbs, and he'll lace that line drive jumper.
Trey Cobbs making them pay. That time, Villa Angela St. Joseph jumped into a 3-2 zone, tried to change the pace up a little bit. Central Catholic got into the inside of it, made them pay.
Matt, don't you love the physicality? Trey Cobbs and Brian Parker. Now, look, number 1 is Cobbs picked up that foul. Number 1 in the white of Villa Angela St. Joe, Brian Parker, 6'3", 225. I'm thinking a lot of college football coaches would love to have this guy as one of their outside backers putting heat on the QB.
Guy's built like a linebacker, man. Now, here's the thing. Not a big-time three-point shooter. He's only attempted 3 on the year. But you talk about being able to get to the rim, a mid-range game, and just a physical specimen. That's Brian Parker.
Brian Parker, as I mentioned a moment ago, heading to Marist, averages 15 a game. Shoots 50% for the floor. I knew Dre Knott to jump in when I mentioned the gridiron with Brian Parker being a football guy. What do you got, Dre?
Absolutely. Here's something for you. Coach Cal, he said if he was still at UMass, Parker is a kid he'd recruit and sign. His heart, his D, his leadership is everything you need. He's played over 100 games at VASJ with 77 wins.
Yeah, and that's speaking to being a winner and a leader, which Brian Parker has been. Villangelo St. Joe turned it over. Look at the attack of the rim from Josh Dixon. Dixon got tied up. Outstanding defense. Carlton Bragg and Derek Pardon are going to protect that iron now.
They really are. Interior points are going to be hard to come by, which one of my game keys is that Central Catholic has to make some outside shots. They got to make VASJ pay from the perimeter. But with that being said, Lima Central Catholic's been able to slice them up a little bit and get to the rack.
Just underway, second quarter. Lima Central Catholic by 1, and now the rip away from Jake Williams. Folks, if you don't love the competitive spirit and the will to win from that young man, you don't have Ohio High School basketball blood running through your veins.
Reg, that's a great point. That kid is Ohio High School basketball, man. He takes the persona of Lima, the tough, gritty, scrappy town, and he makes him pay, man. Look at him battling down low with Pardon.
Carlton Bragg attacking the bucket. He put it on the floor, and Dantez Walton, the outstanding 6'4" junior of Lima Central Catholic, picked up the foul.
So far early, Lima Central Catholic, they are not scared. If VSA is going to win this thing, they are going to have to earn every single basket they get.
Bragg off the drop step. He's going to the free throw line. Partner, I know you Cincinnati Moeller guys, you figured that out about Lima Central Catholic 365 days ago when they shocked Villangelo St. Joe, didn't you?
We know it, and that's a great point. This reminds me of a GCL team. There's not a bunch of big-time athletes out here, but they're tough. They're going to make plays. They're going to be the first guys to hit the floor. They're going to sprint the floor in transition. They're going to do all the little things that win you basketball games, and they're just not backing down so far. Only turned it over one time. Big key for Lima Central Catholic.
Key to note is you see Cameron White check back in. That was foul number 2 on Dantez Walton. As we take a look at that slab that depicts the resume of Carlton Bragg, one of the most highly decorated players we've had in the state of Ohio for the last few seasons. Bragg with a pair from the line and now trap pressure. Matt, you think about the bigs in the tradition of the Villangelo St. Joseph program that preceded him, going back to Clark Kellogg, Eric Riley, Treg Lee, John Buford. I mean, guys, and a lot of them have helped to come back and mentor Bragg on his ride to what's going to be a Division I career at Kansas.
And you know what? Coach Kwasniak told us, Carlton Bragg, through all the attention, the social media, the selfie age these days, has done a great job of handling that pressure. He says he's a phenomenal young man. Gets a bad rap sometimes because of the hype and all the pressure, but he's done a great job of handling it. Seems like a terrific guy and obviously a heck of a player.
Think about, again, some of the frontline players with size in this program as Bragg got denied by both Cameron White and the omnipresent Jake Williams.
They're really fighting down low. The ASJ has done a good job of finding Bragg down there, but every time he catches it, there's 2 and 3 guys down there harassing him. He's going to have to be stronger, maybe kick that thing out every once in a while.
As Villangelo St. Joseph redeemed that loss from a year ago, but Cameron White, a pretty good shot put on him by Carlton Bragg. Nothing easy around the rims today. Not for the meek or mild of heart, is it?
No freebies. With all that length in there, Pardon 3 blocks away from becoming the school's all-time leader in block. Bragg, 6'8", long, rangy athlete. They're still getting in there. Cobbs is able to get into that paint at will right now.
Second personal foul, by the by, on Carlton Bragg. Dantez Walton just picked up his second, and Frank Hill made the move for that young man. Cameron White, 6'2" senior. Back on the floor is Josh Dixon for Lima Central Catholic. Now Frank Hill goes about 9 deep. Cameron White, we've seen Ethan O'Connor, Garrett Thomas, Aiden O'Connor. Man, they'll get 10, 12 minutes of playing time from Head coach Frank Hill, Simon Texador, a misfire on that triple try. And we got a whistle, and that foul is going to go on Carlton Bragg, and that's number 3 on Babe Kwasniak's All-American big.
Wow. And actually, 2 referees, one had a foul, one was pointing the other way, and they ended up getting the foul on Carlton Bragg. That's a big storyline here early.
Yes, indeed, because that man right now, how does Babe Kwasniak massage the 3 fouls on Carlton Bragg? That'll help. Run out for Brian Parker, who went glass. Credit Derek Parton with a rip away.
Derek Parton picking the pocket out top. The big man got those long arms, got his hand in the cookie jar, and got an easy one for his team.
With 5 minutes left in the second quarter, mark it down. When Carlton Bragg sat down, Los Angeles St. Joe was down 1, 19-18. Of course, they quickly turned it on that Parker run out. Parker's got another rip. Give it up to Mo Vaughn Johnson, who went glass. Back-to-back hoops for Villa Angela St. Joseph immediately after Carlton Bragg goes down with his 3rd. And now Jake Williams is injured in being led away from the Lima Central Catholic bench by the Thunderbirds athletic training staff. There's Williams, and he's going to be taken back into the Lima Central Catholic Thunderbirds locker room, and favoring that right shoulder. Off the rip away, Brian Parker. He and Vaughn Mo Johnson with back-to-back buckets to give Villa Angela St. Joseph the 3-point lead. Energy level high, intensity level high. What would you expect? Rematch, Division-3 state championship won by Lima Central Catholic a year ago. All right, Villa Angela St. Joe by 3. They've got that on back-to-back steals and runouts. Now, let's keep an eye on Jake Williams. Did he have a shoulder pop out of socket on this reach for the basketball?
Wow. It looks like it happened right there. Didn't even see much contact, but obviously you could see the pain on his face there. And I don't know what's going on with shoulders, and Lima Central Catholic don't want to speculate, but it sure looks like that thing popped out of socket, Reg.
As we documented starting the telecast today, Frank Hill must be saying, yeah, you know, they got Trey Cobbs with a day of just tremendous therapy to be able to play today. Now, a minute into the game, his shoulder was separated again, as has been during the entire month of March's tournament run. This happened on Thursday in the semis.
Reg, Coach Kill told us Cobb dislocated that shoulder 3 times in the past 6 weeks. What a tough kid just to get out here and mix it up again.
Trey Cobb's on the floor. We'll have to check on, we'll get Andre Knott on Jake Williams again. Now he's the heart and soul, folks. He's the heartbeat, the inspiration of the defending state champions. That's Dantez Walton, flat on that line drive jumper.
I think that's just a settle there by Dantez Walton. I think he's got to get to the rim, create some contact. I thought he just settled for the shot because it was there.
This is Derek Parton off the drop step. Villa Angela St. Joseph all over the offensive glass as Trayvon Williams Scruggs on that glass. Foul was Ethan O'Connor on Lima Central Catholic.
Trayvon Williams Scruggs looking like a football player down there, headed to Youngstown State to play football. Kid's a really physical player inside. Watch for him to keep grinding out rebounds like that.
So that's how they roll on the east side of Cleveland. You're a Cincinnati guy.
Yeah.
On the east side of Cleveland, you do it on the football gridiron and the basketball floor.
Well, that's you, man.
Off the rip away, the run out for Trey Cobbs. Cobbs, great give up. Derek Parton said, I'm going to revoke that ticket. Parton with a block shot. Parker to attack the cup. Yeah, count it. And one coming from the line. Rack-to-rack run from Brian Parker.
Reg, against this supremely talented VASJ team, a bad shot or a turnover is like the first pass to ignite their fast break. That time they took a bad shot inside. Off to the races, Brian Parker, coast to coast.
And while we continue with our football points of reference, when Parker started to get, did you see him cover it up like a running back?
Cup that thing, man. You're not taking that from Parker. Look at that guy's put together, man.
Yeah, he is. All right, the lead is up to 6 now, and this is now a 7-0 Villangela St. Joseph run. Dantez Walton had that heavily contested in traffic. Vaughn Mo Johnson with Brian Parker, Simon Texidor, Trayvon Williams-Scruggs, and Derek Pardon. Carlton Bragg, the All-Ohioan, went out with 5 minutes left with his third personal. Parker on the low block. Parker with strength. Pardon off the cleanup. It's a 9-0 Villangela St. Joseph run after Bragg picked up his third.
LCC's got to find a way to root Derek Pardon out of the lane. And then on the other side, Derek Pardon, he's affecting every shot, whether he's a primary defender, the tertiary defender. They're looming. The long arm of the law of Derek Pardon is affecting this whole game right now.
Dantez Walton, that's huge for Lima Central Catholic on the stick back off the Trey Cobbs miss.
Anytime Trey Cobbs has been able to get into the paint, good things have happened for Lima Central Catholic.
That ends at 9-0 run after Carlton Bragg went down. So we were discussing how Babe Kwasniak might have to manage and massage the 3 personal fouls. They went on a 9-0 run. Trey Cobbs is going to get to the free throw line on the Simon Texidor reach in as Cobbs was on the burst out.
Good coaching there by Frank Kill. Got his team into a 2-3 zone on that last possession just to try to change the tempo, keep VSJ on their toes, make them think a little bit, cause the turnover. Great leak out and run there by Trey Cobbs.
Second personal foul on Villangela St. Joseph. 6'2", sharpshooting senior Simon Texidor. Good look at Trey Cobbs. Great to see this young man in action here today. You just hate to see a player this type of quality and this talented to maybe not be able to play in a final after an injury in a semi. How about the job the athletic training staff at Lima Central Catholic did to get him ready?
Got to give him a lot of credit. Obviously used to the injury. He's done it 3 times here recently. Ton of toughness there by Trey Cobbs. Give him a ton of credit for coming out here today and mixing it up.
Well, you are right about that. And this the other day, our producer Gene Winters and I were following the semifinal win over Dayton Chaminade Juliet. Frank Kill was saying when asked about Trey Cobbs, I might have to hire a witch doctor to see if that put a little voodoo on these injury problems. I thought it was a terrific response from Frank Kill. Simon Texidor cannot connect on the deep 3. Held ball situation. And Derek Pardon and Ethan O'Connor. And possession arrow says, let's go with Lima Central Catholic.
Reg, Derek Pardon is a high-level rebounder. There's some guys that can get rebounds in their territory. There's some guys that can get a rebound that might be 2 or 3 feet outside of their territory. He can go and get them wherever they are. He can jump straight up in the air, use that wingspan, and go snatch rebounds outside of his territory. Northwestern's getting a good one.
Yeah, they are. Well, off the point you made, though, how much of that is off ball anticipation and locating in the air as opposed to just the natural phenomenal skill?
It's a great point. He's got great anticipation. When that ball goes up, he does a great job of getting to that weak side and gets ready to plant his feet and explode off the ground.
Well, Trey Cobbs had a lot of sizzle on that pass toward Dantez Walton. Turnover, Lima Central Catholic.
A little bit too much mustard on that one, but I do like Trey Cobbs having ball screens. I think he's dangerous in ball screen situations. VSJ's been mixing it up a little bit. They've gone under on him. They've tried to hedge. He's been able to alleviate that by splitting. He's gone around the edge. He's been able to do some good stuff to get his teammates some open looks.
Jake Williams, who went out with what appeared to be a shoulder injury, has not yet returned to that Lima Central Catholic bench. As we keep close tabs on that, and we'll have Andre Knott on that as we're but a minute and 15 seconds away from halftime. A 9-0 run after trailing 19-18, and with Carlton Bragg picking up his third foul has fueled Villangela St. Joseph to what now is his 5-point lead.
LCC smart here. They're staying in the 2-3 zone. They're looking at personnel on the floor. There's really only one knockdown shooter and Simon Texidor on the floor right now, so they're going to try to protect that paint, and he gets an open look anyway.
Texidor flat on that triple try. So back-to-back threes for that deep right quarter wouldn't drop for Texidor. Dantez Walton had to give it up. That deep triple, front rimmed and will not drop. From Ethan O'Connor, and the basketball is going to go with Villangela St. Joseph. So up by 5, Matt. Let's see if Maybe Ted Kwasniak is thinking about, let's get this final look here. First half with 36 seconds left. Babe Kwasniak, of course, although he'll consult with his papa. Ted. There they are. What a great story the Kwasniaks are on the east side of Cleveland. Terrific basketball family. Known them a long, long time, and you're not going to find better basketball people than the Kwasniaks.
Coach Kwasniak, what a sharp guy. And the best thing he did, maybe, he married a doctor, so he is a smart guy.
That's why, baby. You're right. That's why he said he is ultimate smart. Forget about West Point, notwithstanding that he's a graduate of. All right, 5 seconds left now. Bryant Parker to unload, going to come up way short. And that is how the first 16 minutes of basketball comes to an end. Enjoying compelling rematch for a Division-3 state championship. Babe Kwasniak and his Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph, 2-point losers to Lima Central Catholic Thunderbirds a year ago, with his 5-point advantage, 27-22 at the break. Frank Kill's got to go check out Jake Williams. Speaking of Babe Kwasniak, he joins our Andre Knott.
Coach, what does it say about your team that Carlton goes on the bench with 3 fouls and you guys go on a 9-0 run?
I didn't know that, Andre, so I don't know what it says about it. I guess they were resilient. They're very good. They're very well coached, and this is obviously going to be a battle.
Offensively, are you happy with what your team's been able to do in the first half?
I'm not. We got to be a little more patient. You know, I'm sure Zach Jackson's at home criticizing what we're doing. We got to get the ball inside a little more, and Simon's have some good shots. He'll knock those down.
I'm sure you're not worried about the criticism. We'll talk to you in the second half. Good luck in the second half, babe. All right, back to you, Michael.
A reference to FoxSportsOhio.com's Zach Jackson. Frank Kill is Babe Kwasniak. Tremendous friends, spirited competitors, Villa Angela St. Joseph by 5 at the break. Value City Arena, said earlier, all roads. Thinking about championships, this is the venue to be today here on the campus of Ohio State University. 16 minutes of basketball in the books. Might take more than 16 more to get this one decided. Great to have you along, everybody. Michael Reghi, my partner, the former Ohio State Buckeye sharpshooter. Did I say that the way you wrote it out for me?
Yeah.
That's what he said here to say. Sharpshooter for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Matt Sylvester, Andre Knott here as well. We've ballyhooed the rematch, and with good cause. Lima Central Catholic, defending champs, Villa Angela St. Joseph. We can make a case they're 1-2 in the state of Ohio, and deservedly so. And Villa Angela St. Joseph overcame the third foul on Carlton Bragg to go on a 9-0 run to take the lead.
And they asked Coach Kwasniak, what's that say about your team? And he said, we're resilient, and they are resilient. It also helps when you have supreme talent. You can bring one player after another off the bench that are big-time performers.
Let's take a look at Villa Angela St. Joseph and how they made things happen in the first half. Ball movement pretty nice, huh?
Really nice ball movement, especially when you dump that ball in the post and you're drawing double teams, sometimes even triple teams, and you've got bigs that can share the ball with each other, the one-mores, the extra passes. VASJ did a great job. Then you see Bragg there following the play, cleaning up the miss by Parker. These guys got the full package, but Lima Central Catholic sticking around with their toughness and their scrappiness.
Yeah, we noted that, and you just saw it there graphically. Bragg's third at 5:07, but then 9-0 run and a couple of steals that started the run on the defensive end. All right, for Lima Central Catholic now, they're looking for shots that they're going to find to their liking against this big interior. They got a few opportunities with them, and then they lost Jake Williams.
Jake Williams, the inspirational leader, hurt the shoulder heading in the half. But this guy, Josh Dixon, a straight line driver, a big-time athlete. There you see VSJ trying to blitz some ball screens. Good job handling the pressure, kicking it out. And he knocks down the three. Dan Ted's so talented, multi-dimensional type player, can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we told you he had a real fluid offensive game, and you saw it by hitting the three and then on the strong drive to the hoop. Well, again, Lima Central Catholic, heart of champions, toughness personified. Got to see if they can overcome what might be the loss of their senior stalwart, Jake Williams. Don't go away. We'll delve more into this first half of basketball when we get back. VA St. Joe by 5. Today's game is brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy the most sports on the most devices, no matter where you are, only with Time Warner Cable. Value City Arena, the site. It's a fantastic weekend of basketball. Absolutely nothing better. Presented by the OHSAA, and we know you're enjoying it right here on Sports Time Ohio. Two more to come today that we're going to show you in just a moment. I'm Michael Reghi. My partner, Matt Sylvester, Andre Knott, joining us as well. Let's take a look at the numbers from the first 16 minutes of basketball. While Villa Angela St. Joseph shooting 46% from the floor, the fast break points really in their favor, Matt, that was started with those two ripaways that gave them the lead after Bragg went down with his third personal.
And that's where VASJ is most dangerous. When they're in the open court, they're hard to stop. They got athletes all over the place. They can throw it to the rim. They can throw a bounce pass. It doesn't matter. If you get those guys out in transition, they are very, very dangerous.
We've already crowned one state champion today, Division-4. If you weren't with us this morning, shame on you. You should have planned better because you missed Colton Linkus. Step back jumper. Nothing but cord to give Tri-Village an undefeated season. However, David Dennis from about 59 feet, Matt, it was that close to going down what would have been an instant win for Harvest Prep.
When the game's on the line, it's your best players. Colton Linkus made the biggest shot of his career, and then he flexed on them, made everyone buy 2 tickets to the gun show.
I like that. All right, of course, Lima Central Catholic, Cleveland, Villa Angela St. Joseph right now. Coming up at 4:30, Division-2 state championship. Cleveland Central Catholic, all a part of the same conference as Villa Angela St. Joseph. They'll tangle with Kirk Lehman and those tough Defiance Bulldogs at 4:30. And then tonight, Huber Heights Wayne and Westerville South for a Division-1 state championship. Of course, all of it right here on Sports Time Ohio. Third quarter is right around the corner. Don't move. Villa Angela St. Joseph leads it by 5. 27-22, Villa Angela St. Joseph with the lead. How does it look from Frank Kill's Lima Central Catholic side? Andre Knott, give it to us.
Thank you, Michael. Coach, you look at it, you're down 5. Big question everybody wants to know is what's up with Jake Williams in the shoulder?
Jake's a tough kid. You know, he's going to be back in action for us. You know, he's going to be out there starting the second half for us, and you know, we're going to need him. And you know, it was unfortunate it just popped out, but you know, we had some really good doctors to get it back in.
Is this like the third one for him as well? What do you guys do? What are you teaching?
I have no idea. You know, it's just bad luck right now, but hopefully this second half we have some better luck.
We look at the score right now, 27-22, only down 5 right now. Is this exactly where you want this game going in the second half?
Absolutely. You know, I said it's going to be a boxing match on Thursday, and you know, we cut them once, and we have to cut them again, and we have to keep hitting them hard, and you know, we're not going to back down. You know, I got some gritty kids, and we're going to play our tails off in the second half, and you know, hopefully we can keep it close and have an opportunity at the end.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Good luck in the second half.
Pleasure.
All right, back to you, Michael.
Gritty, tough, and shoulder injury is not going to keep him down. Jake Williams, who said the heartbeat. You know, Trey Cobb with the left shoulder. You see Jake Williams with a sleeve on the right shoulder. Let's go to Allen County in the western side of the state of Ohio and give you a look. Independent, second straight trip to the Final Four. Bob Sagerson, legendary coach, won their first championship back in 2010. Frank Kill backed it up a season ago.
Frank Kill, gotta love his energy, man. The guy just exudes confidence, bleeds onto his players, and that's why they're where they are right now. They're a direct extension of their coach. They're tough and they get it done.
Cuyahoga County up in northeast Ohio, of course. Villa Angela St. Joseph, one of the tradition-rich, legendary basketball programs that we have in the state of Ohio, seeking their sixth state championship for their school. First one back in 1991, backed up in 1992 with Mike Moran as the head coach. That's Derek Pardon with that emphatic throwdown to begin the third quarter for Villa Angela St. Joseph.
And that's what's hard about a zone, boxing out, because you're not guarding a man, you're guarding a territory. That time, didn't get boxed out on Derek Pardon, tipped up.
Well, Jake Williams got swatted by Pardon. Look at Derek Pardon. You talk about the send-aways. He just revoked a couple of tickets of Lima Central Catholic after this follow throwdown.
He's got the attributes of good shot blockers. He's long, he's got great anticipation. He's the second guy off the floor. He's a quick jumper. He is making his mark. And in that 2-3 zone, they plant him right there in front of the rim. It's hard to get in there.
Josh Dixon will drain a three. Big time shot from a big time player. And oh, did Lima Central Catholic need it.
Josh Dixon made some huge plays in the semis. He's picking up right where he left off.
Minute in to quarter number 3. Simon Texidor, Brian Parker, Vaughn Mo Johnson, Carlton Bragg with the 3 personal fouls is back. And Derek Pardon, the 5 on the floor for Babe Kwasniak. Backdoor cut, Bragg to Parker for the quick hit.
Those two guys are on the same page, man. Bragg caught that ball, kept that ball high, using a little bit of traffic. Great cut there by Parker on the back door. Got himself an easy layup on the right side of the rim.
Trey Cobbs off the spin. He just got swallowed up by 6'10 Bragg and 6'9 Derek Pardon. It's that simple. Bragg wants it in his office. And Bragg got taken down with some aggressiveness to it. And everybody's showing great restraint. As you saw that foul on Lima Central Catholic's Nick Tafflinger.
Tafflinger just got him wrapped up, brought him down to the ground, didn't slam him down to the ground, wasn't dirty, but did do a little bit too much there, picked up the intentional foul.
That's going to be 2 shots in the basketball. Nick Tafflinger, probably in his mind, trying to wrap Carlton Bragg up. In the official's mind, it was a little bit more than just a natural defensive play for the basketball.
And if you're Coach Frank Hill, it's kind of one of those pick your poison kind of deals. If you get into the zone, sure, you might be able to protect that inside a little bit, but then it's hard to rebound. If you go man to man, that's a really hard matchup per man, 1 through 5.
The Division-3 Ohio Player of the Year. You saw the numbers in the win over Columbus Eastmore Academy in the semis, 22 points, 8 boards. Bragg was sensational, as that Player of the Year honor would depict.
And how about the luxury of having the 2014 Division-3 Player of the Year, Brian Parker, excuse me, as a complimentary guy this year. The talent is just unbelievable for VASJ.
Yeah, think about what you just laid out. A complimentary guy.
Yeah, Player of the Year.
Yeah, well, the young man with a basketball, Brian Parker, who leadership and the ability at times to subjugate one's ego for the betterment of your basketball team. I'd say that applies for Brian Parker somewhat.
And that's a great point, Reg. Hard for young guys to put the team over me.
Well, Derek Pardon is just doing a complete number right now on the glass at both ends of the floor. He's going to the free throw line as he picked up the Jake Williams foul.
Again, not to be redundant, so hard to box out of that zone because you're guarding the territory, you're not guarding the man. You got to do a really good job, make a real concerted effort that when that shot goes up, you have got to locate somebody, doesn't matter who it is, and you got to put a body on them to try to protect that paint because right now Derek Pardon getting in there at will and grinding out tough offensive rebounds.
Good look at a young man that'll play for Chris Collins at Northwestern University, Andre Knott. I got a feeling he's going to be a good one in the Big Ten.
It's going to be a real good one in the Big Ten. You guys talk about what he's doing on the glass, and he's doing a great job there. So far tonight, now he has 9 points, but he also has 4 blocks. He is now the career school record leader in block shots with 96 as he's passed Eric Riley. That tells you how good this guy's played throughout his career.
Eric Riley was phenomenal, as we know, and we gave you the litany of bigs in this program as Tafflinger's way off the mark. Very critical time right now for Lima Central Catholic. Vaughn Mo Johnson will finish on the sprint to the rim, and suddenly a 7-0 run when Belangelo St. Joseph balloons the lead to 11, and Frank Hill has got to get it stopped.
It's all about rebounds right now and poor shot selection by Lima Central Catholic. We said it before. A poor shot, a bad shot is the first pass in the fast break of VASJ, and that's what's happening right now.
They do so much off the defensive end, and we've seen a couple of examples as you look at a fan base from the school that has gained so much basketball fame on the east side of Cleveland. There it is, state titles by division. And by the way, and great that our producer Gene Winters and Our graphics guru Tom Boshenik and the crew get this up because, as you note there, this will be their, if they go on to win this will be their first state championship in D3, as they've won the others in divisions, 3 of them in D2, and the first one under Mike Moran in Division 1 in 2013 in D4.
Pretty incredible. Going to be the first team in Ohio to win a state championship at every level. Got to give a lot of credit to the ASJ. And but hey, don't count LCC out just yet. They got 9 returners from that state championship team last year. They're not going to get rattled. They're going to keep sticking in there and making some plays. Look for Central Catholic here. They need to get a quality shot, move that ball a little bit, and then it starts with stops. Got to get stops, string them together.
Andre Knott, 7-0 run against Frank Kill's squad. What's the temperament in his huddle?
I think Matt hit on it before it even happened. He asked him, he goes, look, you guys want to get out of the zone? He goes, look, 5 guys have to defend and 5 guys have to rebound. Look for them possibly to go a little man with a little pressure when they go back on the defensive end, because they understand right now the rebounding is a problem for them when they're on the defensive end going to that zone defense.
The lead at 11. That whistle is going to go on Simon Texador. That's number 3 on Texador, so he's going to get a respite as Jeff Grodzinski will check in. Grodzinski, the sweet shooting 6'3" and senior off of Babe Wozniak's bench. Critical time. I think we all agree on that for all the reasons we just pointed out for Lima Central Catholic. They've got to at least start to hold serve a little bit here, down by 11.
They do, and now VASJ jumps into their own zone. They jump into a 3-2 zone, create a turnover right away.
Well, Frank Kill looking over at him. Not the type of decision he wants from Josh Dixon there, who turned it over. We come inside, 5 minutes left in the third. Points off turnovers, big, +8. Villa St. Joseph.
Central Catholic jumps back into that man, just like they were doing in the first half. On that post touch, they're doubling immediately.
Carlton Bragg now getting another rest, but that's going to be an offensive foul on Derek Pardon. See Babe Wozniak, top of your screen, got back in his seat very quickly after the animation when the whistle blew.
Which didn't like that call very much. I thought Pardon did dip the shoulder a little bit, created the contact, got the charge.
All right, inside the 5-minute mark, everybody gather up, rally up, collect your breath. The Villa St. Joseph lead is 11. 36-25 as we get you back inside the Value City Arena as state championship weekend here in the Buckeye State. Nothing better. You know, we mentioned the wonderful legendary tradition of Villa St. Joseph and their basketball program, and it was a couple of months ago when Carlton Bragg, the 6'10" All-American, gave the word to everybody who wondered what's the next stop in his basketball career.
I would be playing college basketball for the University of Kansas.
Made the announcement at Villa St. Joseph, and Bill Self has himself quite a good one. We take a look at all the D3 talents here in the state of Iowa we've seen this weekend and where they're going to go continue their education to play college hoops.
Coach Self getting a good one there in Carlton Bragg. Is he ready to go in right away and compete? He might be. I think he's got get a little bit stronger, expand his game a little bit more, but the upside, the ceiling, absolutely through the roof. The guard skills, he's got a really nice stroke all the way to 3. Guy, I think sky's the limit for this guy in terms of his potential.
Yep, Brian Parker committed to Marist a year ago when he was a junior, and of course Derek Pardon, who you see just absolutely showing such lively legs and quick hops today, will play for Chris Collins at Northwestern. Right on cue, there's another shot reject from Derek Pardon. And Matt, as you Trey Cobbs, Dantes Walton, these are outstanding players, and today they have not been able to get inside Derek Pardon to get to the rim.
It doesn't matter if VSJ is in a zone or a man. If Pardon is parked down there in front of that rim, you just can't see any daylight. So they got to get in there, collapse that D, and kick. Maybe they can soften it up a little bit.
His 5th shot rejection today. Trying to triple is Dantes Walton instead of taking it at Brian Pardon. But Walton's save will keep the possession alive. Walton with that short J in the paint. Nothing falling right now. Not a bang on the offensive glass. Ethan O'Connor didn't go. The save, Villagela St. Joseph. Grodzinski to attack the cut. Got it to fall with a left hand.
Good take there by Grodzinski, but on the other end, Ethan O'Connor wasted a dribble there. He's got to get that ball up quicker before the shot blocker can come.
Well, Frank Kill on his bench saying, why is the scoreboard stuck on 25 next to his basketball team? They're down 13. That triple won't fall from Ethan O'Connor. Dantes Walton will bury a three. I'll say it again. Lima Central Catholic needed that in the worst way to get him back to 10.
They needed that real bad just for even their morale. They hadn't scored in a while. Finally got the lid off of it. See if they can get something going here.
A lot of times it just takes one shot that'll fall to get you going.
It really does. Now what they really need is they need to string together a couple stops. It's not all about the offense. They need to get stops, give themselves some confidence that they can get stops against this team.
Trayvon Williams-Scruggs on the floor now for Villagela St. Joseph, who's turned the basketball over.
Good anticipation there by Jake Williams. Got in the passing lane, created the turnover.
Trey Cobbs a little bit out of kilter today, and now Cobbs is down again. I don't think it's the shoulder. I think he took a shot in the face, but I don't want to be premature on that.
I thought I might have seen that left ankle roll over.
Central Catholic, number 22, Aiden O'Connor.
Now you're right, very awkwardly it was the ankle.
Good call, Ralph.
It has been an injury beset couple of games here in Columbus for the defending Division-3 state champions, the Thunderbirds of Lima Central Catholic, as he had a shoulder pop out, re-separated on Thursday in the semis, and now what looks to be a rolled left ankle. The injury issues continue for Trey Cobbs. All right, OHSAA championship fans, would you like to watch this game again with Time Warner Cable? You can enjoy all sports better. Look for the game, this one, and other high school regular season and state championship games only on Time Warner Cable Local On Demand on Channel 411. You could be your own producer at home. Pause it, fast forward, rewind, instant replays, only from the good gang at Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
Boy, Reg, Trey Cobb, he's been going through it last couple of games, man. The shoulder, the ankle. Feel for him. You know, as a competitor, you get to this point of the year, he wants to be out there and he wants to compete with his brothers and his teammates. Hate to see him sidelined like that.
Really do. One of the quality players that we have here in the tournament this weekend. 6'1" junior, Trey Cobb. Brian Parker with strength. And Parker's going to go to the free throw line. Matt, when discussing how to defend Brian Parker, is it not true that at that size and with his strength, once he gets that shoulder inside you on the your rim, you're in no man's land as a defender?
You're in trouble. I think you got to do a few things. One, I think you got to give him a little bit of space so that you have time to move those feet because he's got such an explosive first step. I also think you got to shade that left hand. He obviously wants to get to the left to finish with that left hand. I would sit on it a little bit more, force him to use the right hand, make him prove it.
Brian Parker connects on a pair for the free throw line. Well, Parker's now got 11. Brandon Pardon with 9. They go along with his 8 boards and 5 block shots. Walter Bragg in foul trouble today with 8. Walton, Dantes Walton. Smooth to the rim, but just nothing falling for Lima Central Catholic.
Didn't get the finish, but I like the take there by Dantes Walton. Aggressive take to the rim. He'll get those to fall.
We come inside, 2 minutes left in the third, and this lead at a dozen. And right now, Villagela St. Joseph in complete control.
They really are. The pace of the game in their favor. Really have Lima Central Catholic confused at the moment. That they can't figure out how to get points on the boards, and it's just that length and athleticism that's causing problems.
That's Vaughn Mo Johnson off that miss runner. But still a quarter plus for the defending state champs to rally up. Dantes Walton said, I'm going to start this rally as he dials long distance for 3.
Great ball movement there by Lima Central Catholic. Ball started on the left side of the floor, swung it all the way around the floor to a good shooter in Dantez Walton. Way to step up and knock one down.
A rainbow triple by Jeff Grudzinski. He's going to go to the free throw line and shoot it 3 times. The Walton closeout got there a little bit late.
Got there a little bit late, and instead of going straight up, brought that arm down, tried to block the shot, got a piece of that hand on the follow through.
That's 3 on Dantez Walton, the 6'4 junior out of leading point producer, as you get a good look at 6'2 senior Jeff Grudzinski. 3 opportunities at the free throw stripe. Been a very valuable member off the bench, and you mentioned his name to Babe Kwasniak, and he'll rave about him. Averages about 8 points per game off his bench, a couple boards per game. And there again, you talk about guys having to subjugate their egos to be a part of this type of elite championship caliber team. Grudzinski's one of them.
I think that's a lot of credit there goes to Coach Kwasniak. It's very hard to get a young team and players to buy into the concept of team over my own personal agenda. Coach Kwasniak's done a great job of doing that with this group.
All right, Grudzinski connects on 1 of 3 from the line. That tough jumper from Ethan O'Connor wouldn't fall, and now we've got a whistle. Is that going to be Dantez Walton on the personal foul? They got Dantez Walton. That's 4 on Dantez Walton. Andre Knott, what do we know about the latest Trey Cobb injury?
Trey Cobb, they looked at his left ankle. He went to untie his shoe here on the bench. He tied it back up, trying to go back in, and they said, let's go look at it in the back. They took him back to the locker room. He ran back out here and tried to go right to the scorer's table to go in the game. Coach Gill said, chill out for a minute. Give me a second, but he's back on the bench. He wants back in the game. He's flexing that left ankle. You know how these guys from Central Catholic are. They're not just going to give up. He's on the bench and ready to get back in the game at any point.
That's Allen County tough, Andre. Yeah, the guys and gals from Lima, you can't get on a basketball floor or a football field or the volleyball court unless you bring that tough mindset. Lima Senior, one of the fine programs we have in the state of Ohio, Lima Central Catholic.
Talk about Lima Senior edge. How about the transfer in the offseason of Xavier Simpson went over to Lima Senior. Big loss for this LCC team.
Frank Kill a little bit upset. Jake Williams just got whistled here trying to front Derek Pardon.
Thought Pardon there might have kind of cleared out, but physical play, you're going to get a lot of contact like that down low. Like to see Jake Williams mixing it up. That's what you got to do against a bigger, stronger, more talented player like Pardon.
Aiden O'Connor tried to go for the steal off that long inbound, and he jostled Brian Parker. And now we're in the one in bonus, as that's the 17th foul. So, we're talking about the full 8 minutes of the fourth here, Matt Sylvester, and there's 26 seconds left in the third. Little Angela St. Joseph going to beat a path to the free throw line for the rest of this one.
Yeah, that's big. They're going to give away a lot of free points there at the charity stripe, but you get the vibe right now that LCC a little bit in desperation mode. They're kind of reaching, they're gambling a little bit more, and I think they're going to have to do some of that, but they're going to have to do it by showing those hands and staying out of foul trouble.
Brian Parker's got 12 and looking for 13. Trey Cobb back on the floor. So Cobb's separated shoulder this entire month of March throughout the tournament. We separated it on Thursday at the semis. Ankle injury, as Andre Knott just told you about earlier in this second half, and back on the floor.
And Cobb's just right in front of us right now. Looks like he's limping a little bit. What a tough kid. Great heart coming back out on the court.
And that's a great look you're getting right there. Our jib camera here in Value City Arena. Cobb's tried to get to the rim. Contact between Jake Williams and Gene Higgins, the 5'7" freshman of Los Angeles St. Joseph. You heard the buzzer. 3/4 of basketball in the books. The defending state champions of Lima Central Catholic are on the ropes. They're down 11. Do they have a fourth quarter rally in them? Fall back and find out. Game is brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Enjoy the most sports on the most devices, no matter where you are, only with Time Warner Cable. On a beautiful final Saturday in the month of March. Clear, crisp, it's okay. Hot championship basketball warming us up inside Value City Arena. City of Columbus looking good. Michael Reghi, Matt Sylvester, Andre Knott with you. All right, 8 minutes to go. And Lima Central Catholic, of course, down by 11. And a big part of the problem today has been having to deal with Derek Pardon, the 6'8 senior, who's been terrific at his 3 state tournament appearances.
Rich, the guy must really like the Schottenstein Center. Every time he comes here, he's blocking shots. He's getting tip dunks. He finishes around the rim. You've seen him mix in some really nice post moves tonight with the back to the basket. Guy's really got the complete package. Gotta have fun playing in the Schottenstein Center.
For sure, those numbers would dictate that, right? Double-double in 6 state championship games, including this one today. Out of 9 points, 9 boards, and 6 shot throwaways, blocked shots today.
Coach Kwasniak sitting on 99 wins. Getting that 100th win would be pretty neat. Also being a state championship. 8 minutes to find that out.
Those numbers I just mentioned for Derek Pardon. Charlton Bragg back on the floor to start the 4th quarter.
Side, gotta play good.
4 of Babe Kwasniak's 5 starters are on the floor. Jeff Grodzinski in instead of Simon Texador. That deep triple is going to rattle and go from Nick Tafflinger. He's been quiet today, but has the ability to do that. Dial up a 3 now and then.
PSJ jumped in that zone. Trey Cobbs got in the middle, kicked it to Tafflinger. They're going to need a few more of those if they want to make this interesting.
Lead down to 8. Bragg over the top. Didn't finish, but Derek Pardon said, I got you, big fellas. He'll rock the rim again.
Someone's got to put a body on Derek Pardon. The guy's got like 5 tip dunks. You got to find him.
Whistle is going to bring the foul on Vaughn Mo Johnson. Look at Derek Pardon, Matt Sylvester.
Wow. And you know what? We talked a little bit about Bragg at the next level, needing to get a little bit stronger, work on that base a little bit. He's got to get a finish for that on that bucket there. That was a great pass. But there's his boy, Pardon, cleaning it up.
Foul is not on Pardon.
Derek Pardon has been sensational today. I could just hear Thad Mon in your playing days say, Sylvester, put a body on somebody, right?
And Reg, I hated boxing out, man. That stuff hurts. I wanted to shoot threes. I played from one 3-point line to the other 3-point line.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I'll admit it.
But all will remember the big game winner that you authored against Illinois, if I remember correctly, right?
Reg, that was my 15 minutes, man, and I'm still living on it. I missed about 95% of the shots I took, and they only remember me for a few game winners, so that's a pretty good deal.
It's a beautiful thing for you. See what Lima Central Catholic gets. Trey Cobbs off the Jake Williams ball screen. Josh Dixon, Trey Cobbs, they need to make something happen. That's a whistle. And going to the free throw line is going to be Ethan O'Connor, the 6'3 junior. I think Brian Parker got whistled for that personal foul. I think it's Brian Parker. It's number 2 on Parker. Going to the free throw line. The O'Connor guys, the senior Aiden and the 6'3 junior Ethan, coming up a little bit hurting. He wears number 24. Off the bench, they're both fearless in trying to find offense.
Both of those kids, the same way. Tough, gritty, not going to blow you away with over-the-top skills, but each guy can make plays with their toughness and energy. But what do you do with this VASJ zone? Dixon got in there, Cobbs got in there, and you can beat those top guys, but what do you do when Pardon and Bragg are sitting down there waiting for you? I really don't know where you go. I think you got to try to get in there and kick because you're not going to finish over those guys. But man, that's a daunting task when you're staring at those 2 bigs in there.
Ethan O'Connor is going to have to be subbed out as you see him walking a little bit gingerly on that ankle. O'Connor split the pair. Right now it's Trey Cobbs along with Josh Dixon. Cameron White is back. Jake Williams. And Nick Tafflinger on the floor, but Brian Parker finding his way down to the left side of that iron and getting that to fall. Parker's having a big one in his last game in the Villa Angela St. Joseph gear. Brandon Parker now with 14.
Serious strength there by Parker on the finish. That was just a simple little flash play. Entered it to the high post. Parker flashed to the low block, got himself an easy post up.
Oh, there's been trouble all day long for Jake Williams. This is Simon Texador on the run out, and he'll go glass to bump the Villa Angela St. Joseph lead to 13 inside 6 left.
Turnovers just kill you against this VASJ team. They're going to make you pay for turnovers.
Timeout, Frank Kill. A 30-second timeout. All right, let's take a look again at this defense to offense transition. Another block shot for Derek Pardon. The Texador run out.
Texador could have probably dropped it to Parker there, but he's like, man, you've been getting buckets all night. Let me get a few.
And we've been discussing, I just showed you a moment ago, the strength of Derek Pardon and his game and how he seems to elevate it here in Columbus. That reject of Jake Williams, his 7th block shot of the afternoon, and it all leads to the way that Villa Angela St. Joseph has been dominant in the paint on both ends of the floor.
Pardon's got a great knack for blocking shots in terms of staying vertical. He goes straight up. He never comes down and creates that foul. Good job of staying vertical. Man, he's been swatting shots out of there all night. Central Catholic might need to look at some floaters, some drop-offs, something, because they're going right into Pardon's chest and he's sending them packing.
Matt, he's only 3 shot rejects away from triple doubling in here, with the block shots being one of those categories, and I wouldn't put it past him.
That's crazy. 10 block shots. Don't see that very often.
He got 7 now. Tafflinger couldn't finish as he tried to reverse. Texador will push. Vaughn Mo Johnson. Carlton Bragg will finish it up off the nice look from Vaughn Mo Johnson. And now Villa Angela St. Joseph really starting to force Lima Central Catholic into some bad trips to the offensive end. More runouts. Texador will finger roll it home. And this one is starting to tip in the balance of Villa Angela St. Joseph's Vikings.
It's all about the length, Reg. There it is again. Good finish there by Kyles, but the 2 previous plays, wide open layups that they just miss uncharacteristically because they're waiting for those bigs to come block.
Frank Hill's got to get another timeout after the Trey Cobb slash. Simon Texador on another run out. Villa Angela St. Joseph leads by 15. If you're wearing the colors of the Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph, you're feeling pretty good. Michael Reghi, Matt Sylvester, Andre Knott. The lead is 15. 2013, Villa Angela St. Joseph with their Division-4 state championship, and Carlton Bragg was a big part of it as a sophomore.
Boy, still had that same game, knocking down shots from the outside, minus the headband. Boy, they've just had athletes on top of athletes on top of athletes for quite some time at the ASJ.
Again, this is a program that's won 5 state championships. They've had players the likes of the phenomenal Clark Kellogg on the Cleveland East Side School. Eric Riley, you know, a part of Desmond Howard, Heisman Trophy winner. Elvis Gerbach, outstanding college and NFL quarterback. We're a part of this basketball program. There you see it. Mike Golick, of course, a national radio host and longtime NFL defensive lineman. Who could forget London Fletcher? Went on to play at John Carroll and got quite a career as an NFL middle linebacker. All a part of the Villa Angela St. Joseph athletic family.
Reg, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Dave Leidy, one of the greatest winners in Ohio State history. Should be a statue of that guy around here somewhere.
And of course, maybe the most important, the coordinating producer of Sports Time Ohio, Patrick Kilkenny, who was with us courtside. Noted alums of Villa Angela St. Joseph.
LCC back in that man. They got to make something happen. They can't sit back anymore. Nice little carroll there by Brian Parker. Dropped it to his running mate, Derek Pardon, for the 2-hand flush.
Yep, another crush job from Derek Pardon. who has absolutely just done it all. Give him his 8th block shot as he seeks that triple-double as we come inside 4 left. 13 points, 10 boards, 8 block shots. Derek Pardon. I bet you Chris Collins, Northwestern Wildcats head coach, smiling right now. I haven't seen Chris today. I don't know if he's in Value City Arena taking a look at. Young man will be his newest Wildcat next year, but Derek Pardon putting on a show.
You know, and for Northwestern, Derek Pardon, an athlete that you don't see a lot in Northwestern. The length, the athleticism. He's going to do some big things there. I just hope he doesn't come into the shot and beat up the Buckeyes at all next year.
Oh, careful now.
Yeah, I know.
Come on. You know, that's for Thad Mata and Jeff Bowles and all the great minds of the Buckeye coaching staff to figure out, right? Chris Collins, though, you're right. Chris Collins has got that program. You can see it starting to go north.
Yep. And give a lot of credit to Derek Pardon. He's a guy that, when looking at schools, put a major emphasis on the academics. He wanted to go to a high academia school, and he's obviously going to get that at Northwestern. And give Coach Wozniak a lot of credit. He came in and really turned around the culture, put an emphasis on the academics, raised the team GPA. A lot of good stuff going on up there in Cleveland.
All right, let's take a look at some of the outstanding Buckeye State notables and what their connection now doing it so well in the college. How about Travis Trice, another big one, celebrates his dad, wins to go to the finals tonight. Travis Trice Sr. with Huber Heights Wayne. What did he drop, 24 last night? His Tom Izzo, Michigan State. Terry Rozier had a big one last night. Jim Jackson's son, Trayvon Jackson, still alive. And a big one against Arizona later today for Bo Ryan's Badgers.
Give Travis Trice a lot of credit. One of those guys that came out of high school, good player, not a great player, stayed in the gym, worked on his game every single day, has turned himself into a very big-time college basketball player.
I agreed. Ethan O'Connor on that run-out bucket for Lima Central Catholic, and now a lot of pressure from the Thunderbirds as we're hitting 3 minutes and inside it right now with their deficit at 15. Dave Wozniak got a timeout as Carlton Bragg was yo-yoing that dribble with that count going on of 5 seconds, so Wozniak got a timeout.
Coach Wozniak shot Carlton Bragg a very dirty look, wanted him to pick that ball up, get it to a guard, but how impressive is that? Carlton Bragg handles the ball over there, he's yo-yoing around. Guy's got guard skills at 6'9".
Derek Pardon, we've discussed him a lot today. He did a 13-point, 10-rebound double-double in the semifinal win over Columbus East Moore. He has been absolutely sensational both ends today.
Give Pardon a lot of credit. Came into VASJ, really just an athlete, a shot blocker, a finisher. He's really worked on that game. He's mixed in some really nice low post moves, and obviously the long arm of the law, he's going to send you packing if you come in there with some weak stuff.
And Derek Pardon and friends, are they just 2 minutes and 56 seconds away from bringing the Eastside Cleveland School their sixth state championship? We showed you a few moments ago, if they do it here in D3, they'll have run the gamut, won them in every division going here in the state of Ohio. They're a 5-time runner-up. And Matt Sylvester, when they came down here Thursday, their 14th year of reaching the semifinal, Final Four here in the Buckeye State.
That's incredible. And you talk about motivation. We talked about it off the air a little bit, but they wanted this game. They wanted their revenge. They were being very PC, and they weren't going to tell you that. You know they were looking forward and licking their chops to get an opportunity here as LCC jumps now into a 1-3-1 zone.
Derek Pardon got another deuce. Carlton Bragg, his front court buddy, found him. As Derek Pardon continues his assault on the statistical sheet here this afternoon, as this lead is ballooned to 17. Bragg just got hit with his 4th personal foul.
Good finish there by Pardon, but again, when you got your 6'9" All-American passing it, making really nice interior passes to your 6'9" All-Ohio player, finishing with the offhand. There's just not much you can do if you're LCC. Give them credit for continuing to fight, continuing to scrap. They've just been outmanned, outmatched all day today.
Frank Hill has told us all week long about the defensive end of the floor being their great connect. Everybody buys in there, and you can see it as they're in their trap pressure here. And as we approach the 2-minute mark, this is quite an obstacle to overcome. But again, you know, talking about the second-ranked team here in the state of Ohio, they've only lost twice this year as Frank Kill's squad. And you know, as the year went on, they became, their mission was, let's repeat. It's hard to do. Not many can do it. And Frank Kill candidly said, probably figured to repeat, they were going to have to go through his good friend and the team they ousted a year ago, Villa Angela St. Joseph.
Would have been really neat to see LCC do it, Reg. They would have been the first D3 Division-3 school to win back-to-back since those North College Hill teams down back in 06 and 07. That's O.J. Mayo, Bill Walker, and those guys. But yeah, tall task getting through VASJ. Hey, you think there's anyone around here we can talk to? Maybe turn that D1 into a round robin. Throw VSJ in there with Huber Heights.
You're thinking ahead. You're like a tremendous marketer, a brander that's thinking of very kind of juicy possibilities.
I'd like to see it. I know that.
Right. Well, you know, the state of Indiana, no divisions. You know, everybody just has got to line it up and get ready to go. As Josh Dixon, speaking of lining up, has just laced a three. And Frank Kill now down by 15. He knows he's got to use all those timeouts and use them expertly to keep his team with a shot.
The future is bright for LCC. They return the likes of Trey Cobbs. They bring back Dantez Walden. They bring back Josh Dixon. These guys are going to be good for another year here at least. And if I know Coach Kill, he's going to keep that program rolling. They're going to do big things for a lot of years to come.
Runner-up at 89 and 94, 8 times in the state semifinals. And look at the last 3 seasons under Frank Kill. And I mentioned his name earlier on because I've known him for a long, long time. And Bob Segerson, the tremendous head coach here at Lima Central Catholic, over a couple of decades set the tone for that Allen County program. And Segerson, of course, as we said, got the championship win over a tremendous Orville team back in 2010. And you know, when you got that kind of tradition and litany of success, coaches understand, you know, you walk into that now, you got to keep it rolling, and Frank Kill's done that.
Big shoes to fill there without question. You're right, Frank Kill's done a phenomenal job. He's going to have his team back here in no time.
And 4 junior starters will return next year. The only one they lose is Jake Williams, and that's going to be a big loss.
Yeah.
But you can expect Frank Kill and his squad to be heard from plenty more here in Columbus. Ryan Parker will take Villa Angela St. Joseph to the front court with exactly 2 minutes to go. And that foul is going to go on Aiden O'Connor as we look at the gentleman that Matt Sylvester played for here in Columbus, Thad Mata, who, speaking of winning, has done a superb job with his Ohio State Buckeyes program. Look at Thad, going to take the pictures with all the adoring Scarlet and Gray fans.
Coach Mata had the, like you said, Reg, had the pleasure of playing for him. Coach's first 2 years at Ohio State were my last 2 years, and really owe my life to Coach Mata. Came in, gave me a great opportunity to go out and compete. And our senior year, I'm proud to say, Reg, we were picked preseason 8th in the Big Ten, and we ended up winning it outright without one NBA player on the roster, and it was a year where the league was pretty darn good. So I take a lot of pride in that. Coach Mata really made us believe, and I think that's one of the best things he does as a head coach.
Well said. And the fact that he put up with you for 2 years, trying to make you a better player on his staff.
Got to have thick
kudos
skin to do that. That's my wife.
Kudos there to one Thad Mata. It's been Toretto ride. It's been for Mata, who played at Butler, of course, and coached at Xavier.
He's got a phenomenal class coming in next year, too. A couple of really tough, talented players.
How about that point guard we saw the other day in here?
Good one, right?
Oh, yeah, Dayton Dunbar.
Amos, he's going to fit right in here with the Buckeyes. He's going to push that tempo and help them win a lot of games.
Good look at Jake Williams, regardless of outcome, finishing off a just absolutely brilliant Lima Central Catholic career. 6'3" senior standout, couple of free throw makes. Minute 45 to go before the redemption is done. And Williams with a pretty big shot. Carlton Bragg picked him up right away. And I think Jake Williams realized he hit Carlton Bragg with a shot that a middle linebacker would be proud of.
LCC has last couple possessions here jumped in some full court man-to-man run and jump stuff. That time Jake Williams just a little bit late on the rotation, got tangled up with Carlton Bragg, put down the hand to help him up. Great sportsmanship there by Jake Williams.
Carlton Bragg heading to the Big 12 to play for Bill Self and the Kansas Jayhawks. How do you see his game evolving as a collegiate?
Like I said, I think the sky's the limit once he continues to put on some weight, particularly in that lower body. Once he gets bigger with that lower body, becomes even more of an explosive athlete, continues to get better with his skills. He can be as good as he wants to be.
Foul trouble's limited him to just about a quarter and a half today. White, at least, you know what, Cameron White, the 6'1", the bench player, the senior, he says, you know what, I found a way to get inside Derek Pardon and get my shot up on the glass without it being slapped back at me.
Great point. You know what White did there? He shot fake, and you didn't see that all night. You saw him trying to force the first shot up there. That time he shot fake. He went right up through the chin of the defender and drew the foul on Derek Pardon.
Just a minute and 28 to go. You see some of the reality of the situation for the Thunderbirds of Lima Central Catholic. Down by 14 after White split the pair. Simon Texador will go glass and reverse it home.
Good vision there by Carlton Bragg to find Texador open under the rim.
Texador with 10, one of 4 Vikings of Villa St. Joseph at double figures. Shot reject number 9 for Derek Pardon. He's got 60 seconds to get one more and triple-double his way into the books here in D3. And that push is going to be called on Ethan O'Connor of Lima Central Catholic.
Pardon didn't even have to leave his feet for that shot block there. Jake Williams tried to get into his chest, tried to draw his body. Didn't even have to leave his feet. He's so long. Just extended that left hand and got himself another block.
9 block shots for Derek Pardon to go along with his filling out every line of the stat sheet. 15 points, 11 boards, 9 block shots. Ryan Parker, 7 of 8 from the line today. 5 boards, 4 assists. Parker's got 17. Texador wanted a stick back. I think that foul is going to go on Simon Texador. And there's Ted Kwasniak. Ted Kwasniak, who was an assistant on Mike Moran's Villa St. Joseph staff that won in 1991 and 92. I had the pleasure of calling both of those state championships. And then, of course, in 94-95, when Mike Moran took the college job at John Carroll, Division-3 in Cleveland, Kwasniak became the head coach, and he won a pair with son Babe on the squad. Wow. Another whistle as Vaughn Mo Johnson attacked the rim. And this one has turned into a foul fest here in the last couple of minutes.
Talk about Coach Moran up there at John Carroll. They had a phenomenal team this year, ended up 3rd in the OAC. Yep, lost in the 2nd round of the NCAA tournament, but they got the blue platoon and the white platoon going on up there. They're 5 in, 5 out, hockey-style substitutions. They're fun to watch at the D3 level.
You a D3 guy now, Matt, so you've been paying attention to Mike Moran's program, huh?
Yep, got a lot of respect for Coach Moran. Does it the right way up there. Heck of a coach. A lot of good players in his program right now.
Well, from Mike Moran to Ted Kwasniak to Babe Kwasniak, it's about state championships. The school on the east side of Cleveland, absolutely part of the long lineage of tremendous basketball success here in the Buckeye State. Babe Kwasniak's going to clear his bench. And look at the big hugs for the Kwasniak family. Babe, his father Ted, Ryan Parker, Derek Pardon, Carlton Bragg, Simon Texador, the 4 seniors who have now won another state championship.
The amount of talent that just left the floor is just crazy for a Division-3 school. Lima Central Catholic was in an uphill battle all night. Give them a ton of credit. Showed a real warrior spirit.
Off that Ethan O'Connor miss, the basketball will stay with Lima Central Catholic. And now the 5th senior, Vaughn Mo Johnson, will play his final moments as a prep. He's a state champion as well, with a big hug from Babe Kwasniak. Oh, the benches have cleared as Ethan O'Connor connects. 30 seconds left, and let's see if Frank Kill is going to tell his squad, let's not foul anymore. We'll see. That short jumper wouldn't drop. Look at all the bench guys that don't see a lot of playing time for this Villa Angela St. Joseph squad, trying to get something in the books.
Gotta love seeing the starters from VASJ. They're all up cheering on their teammates. Special time for the VASJ program.
That'll do it. Is redemption a reality? It is. Affirmative for Babe Kwasniak and the Division-3 state champions of Villa Angela St. Joseph.
Rugby-style pile-up on this end of the floor. VASJ, great win, great season. One of the best teams in the history of Division-3.
They're 6th all-time. They've now won in each and every one of the 4 state of Ohio divisions. Is Babe Kwasniak and his family, his lovely wife, and the Kwasniak children, grandchildren of Ted, share an embrace as state champions for the 6th time in their school history by virtue of the 63-50 win. And again, as Matt and I started to point out, I mean, make no mistake, no greater respect for any other program does Babe Kwasniak have for Frank Kill, his good friend, and the champions that are Lima Central Catholic. But yes, they wanted it to be Lima Central Catholic to do their part to get to the state championship game. So they had a chance, meaning Babe Kwasniak and Villa Angela St. Joe, to exercise the demons as they were upset by Lima Central Catholic a year ago.
And they gave a great effort. I think the loss of the 2 guys we talked about a little bit, Xavier Simpson, Martise Kimbrough, to graduation, that hurt. But then again, Dantez Walton stepped up in those guys' absence, so did Trey Cobbs. Just a little bit outmatched today for Lima Central Catholic. Ton of respect for that program. Lots of great things to come here down the road for those guys.
In just a moment, we will be hearing from Dr. Deborah Moore and the various Ohio High School Athletic Association Associate and Assistant Commissioners. Is Dr. Dan Ross, Commissioner, with a championship embrace for Babe Kwasniak. Well, Babe Kwasniak, now he's celebrated a championship as a player. He's done it before as a head coach, and now he's got another one in Division-3. As Carlton Bragg and Derek Pardon and Brian Parker and Simon Texador and Vaughn Mo Johnson and Jeff Grodzinski and Trayvon Williams Scruggs, the seniors, can revel in the fact that they went out with a state championship.
Number 12, Marcus Coleman. Number 20, Jamison Bradley.
They absolutely were brilliant all weekend long. As we said, they beat Columbus East Moore Academy in a big way in the semifinals.
Number 24, Ethan O'Connor.
You know, Matt, 2 of their 4 losses this year, they finished 23-4. 2 of the 4 losses, 2 were to out-of-state of Ohio programs, and the other 2 are in back-to-back games to Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, Drew Joyce's program, and then they got beat the next night out, next time out, by Eric Flannery and St. Edward.
St. Ed's, what a serious program they've had too. Boy, Cleveland's really been doing it here lately. Yeah, and then one of those losses you mentioned, Reg, to Oak Hill Academy, obviously.
Right.
Nothing to be ashamed of there. Quite a resume they've put together there at VASJ this year.
Well, you see the runner-up medallions being handed out to Josh Dixon, Dantez Walton, Jake Williams, and all the terrific young talents of Lima Central Catholic. And those seniors are going to go out in back-to-back state championship games. And you think about how few, Matt Sylvester, are able to do that. They win one last year and come up short as the runner-up in D3 to Philangela St. Joseph this year.
To be here twice in a row, extremely rare. Take your hats off to Lima Central Catholic. And you think about the experience of these three juniors, you know, the main contributors coming back. What a great experience this is. Now, they're going to take over that VASJ role. They're going to sit around all summer and think about this game and what they need to do to get themselves back here.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's applaud the championship effort of both of these teams.
Assistant Commissioner OHSAA Roxanne Price to salute Lima Central Catholic.
Thunderbirds, the culmination of a successful season is to have been sectional champions, district champions, regional champions, and to be able to battle on this court the last day of the season for a state championship. Only 2 schools in Division-3 ever have that opportunity each season, and one of those schools was the Lima Central Catholic Thunderbirds. You've had a very, very successful 5-year run. You were 2010 state champions. You were 2014 state champions. And now in 2015, you're going back to Allen County as Division-3 state runner-up. On behalf of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, all of our member schools, your students, and the fans that came to support you, I present you the Division-3 state runner-up trophy.
And now we honor the team from Philangela St. Joseph High School as the 2015 Division-3 State Championship team. Principal Dave Sank, Athletic Director Nate Zavorik, and President Richard Osborne will help present the awards. As your name is called, please come forward to receive the award. Yvonne Williams-Scruggs. Number 3, Kevin Roberts. Number 11, Danny McGarry. Number 12, Jeff Grodzinski. Number 15, Jerry Higgins.
The winners of Philangela St. Joseph, they have come full circle in 365 days. And yes, it's left them wanting after they were beaten by Lima Central Catholic in the Division-3 state championship game 1 year ago. And mission accomplished, Matt Sylvester.
Give VASJ a lot of credit in the way they've handled success. You saw Coach Babe Kwasniak, while the LCC players were getting their medals, he stood on their side of half court, applauded the whole time, showed great respect to Coach Kill and his team. And VASJ just did it the right way all year. They had the most talent on the court pretty much every single night, but they did it with class, they did it with integrity, and they deserve to be the state champions.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think when you discuss Carlton Bragg, headed to Kansas, Derek Pardon, Northwestern, Brian Parker to Marist, the outstanding skills of Simon Texador and Vaughn Mo Johnson, and Jeff Grozicki off the bench. As a collection of senior talent, and for Babe Kwasniak, I mean, this has got to go down, I think, as one of the finest that has matriculated through this program as four-year players, all of them, and have performed remarkably well as state champions now twice in the last 3 years.
There's no question about it, and maybe there was teams in the past that may have been a little better offensively, maybe they were a little bit better defensively, but you talk about the total package, a team that put it all together on both sides of the floor. They were an incredibly efficient offense. They kept you on your toes with changing defenses that went everything from a 1-3-1, a 2-3, a 3-2, man, trapping, full court press, and they just changed it up. And when you have those type of athletes, and then you have a scheme like Coach Babe Kwasniak put in, you are just going to be hard to beat on every single night.
Viking
fans,
here's Dr. Dan Ross, Commissioner, OHSAA.
I agree with you. Coach Kwasniak and the Vikings. 23 wins, adding to your storied tradition. What a great season that you've had. You're absolutely right. This weekend, it's your 14th trip to the Final Four here in Columbus. 5 of those trips, you've returned back to Lakeshore Drive with the state runner-up trophy. And today, you earned your 6th state championship trophy. And by earning that 6th state championship trophy, you've earned the right to be moved up to the 2nd on the OHSAA basketball championship list for state championships. On behalf of our 821 member high schools, our staff, and our board and directors, we want to present the Division-3 state championship trophy to the Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joe. Take it back to Cleveland with pride.
Dr. Dan Ross just laid it out for everybody here inside Value City Arena, and all of you who have been so kind to join us here all day long on Sports Time Ohio. They're number 2 now, Matt Sylvester, number 2 the all-time program schools state championship list, with 6 of them trailing just Middletown. We had up earlier. Means a lot. They celebrated there. We'll come back and tell you more. The Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph. And that's being cut down symbolically. Division-3 state champions, the Vikings of Villa Angela St. Joseph. It's number 6 in the tremendous tradition. The East Side Cleveland program. Mike Moran, Ted Kwasniak, Babe Kwasniak, and Matt Sylvester, as we mentioned a moment ago. Mostly led by Jerry Lucas. Middletown Middies with 7 now, as VA St. Joe connects with another great program, the Vikings of Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, now with 6 state championships. And the man that masterminded number 6, he's done a brilliant job, player and coach, Andre Knott, joined by Babe Kwasniak.
Thank you very much, Michael. Coach, what's it mean to be a part of the 6th championship for this school?
Andre, you know what? The thing is, I had a gut feeling that this might be the best team we've ever had. I'm not saying it is, that's subjective, but if we don't win this, that's not even in the conversation. and this has been a special group.
I know some guys that would like to talk to you about that. We'll get to that later on. You've won 21 of your last 22 postseason games. What did it mean to play against this team in the championship after last season?
It felt like Rocky versus Apollo too. You know, Coach Kill is a great coach. I thought they played as hard as any team we played all year. Oak Hill, St. Ed's, Akron, St. Vincent, St. Mary. They were those kids just really played. They played hard, and that's a tribute to Coach Kill. I mean, what a deal for him to get down there 2 years in a row.
Can you talk a little bit about Parton? He almost had a triple-double today. Everybody talks about Carlton and should do so, but today he really was able to change the pace for you guys.
We're just used to that. You know, everyone talks about Carlton being a McDonald's All-American, and Brian was a player year in our conference, got every vote. Derek's so used to being Robin. He's fine in that. It's the same thing for our team, Andre. Our team, we get credit for how talented we are. We don't get credit for the fact that we have a 3.68 GPA. You know, these kids, they do it the right way. They're good young people. They do it in the community, and I'm just blessed to be a part of them.
Last thing, you told me before the game you wanted to be the best-dressed coach here. Show everybody the belt, then the shoes. And did your wife put that? Who put that together for you?
No, that's me. My wife actually just turns the other way when she sees the red velvet. So, you know, we won a couple games in this ensemble, so we had to stick with it.
You look good, man. Take care and congratulations.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, as we continue along, we continue right now. As Derek Parton ran away from us. Would you let him run away from us? It's all right. He's getting in net. You got your net. Talk about the excitement of coming back here and getting this championship victory over a team that defeated you guys last season.
Well, it's pretty exciting because we wanted to get revenge from last year, and this is our third year in a row here, and it never gets old. So I was very excited to play.
What did you think changed the motion of this game? I think it was a 5-point game and a half. Was it going to the zone in the second half that took this game and went your favor?
Yeah, because they didn't have that good enough of a zone offense, and we saw it was working, so we kept with it.
When you look at this season, what was the turning point where you realized you guys could get back down here? And how important is it to be a part of the 6th championship for the Vikings?
Well, it's very special because it's always a legacy of St. Joe's, and we're happy to bring another state championship back home. And the turning point of the season was when playing on ESPN realized we could play with the #1 team in the country.
Congratulations. Enjoy this victory.
Thank you.
Well, we can still have it for a couple seconds. Derek Parton's here. Not only did he almost get a triple-double, did you know that? You're 1 block away from a triple-double. Talk about this victory and how important it was for you guys to close out with a state championship win.
Oh, it's great. We've been waiting for this since last year. We're just waiting for redemption, and it feels great. It's very emotional right now, so just letting it sink in.
You talk about redemption. Was it going against that team that made it even sweeter today?
It did, but not necessarily. We felt that we had unfinished business just in whole. We felt like we didn't come out how we did last year, and we wanted to do that.
Did anyone ever whisper to you during the game that you were 1 block away from a triple-double in a state championship game?
Oh, not at all. I just played my game, and we won.
At the end of the day, what does it mean to be a part of the 6th state championship for the Vikings?
Oh, it was great. I know we made history today. We were the only team to win in all 4 divisions, and it's very great to be a part of that.
Coach also said he thinks you guys may be one of the best teams at St. Joe's of all time.
Well, that's to be debated by Papa Quaz.
Exactly. Enjoy the victory.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Michael. Very happy bunch over here with the Vikings.
I'd say so, Andre Knott. Very fine job by Andre today, patrolling both sidelines. Matt Sylvester, the same with you. And final thoughts, you and I have been able to have the distinct pleasure of seeing Tri-Village go 30-0 and undefeated, and now a rematch. First, #1 in the state, Evangel St. Joe, #2 in the state, Lima Central Catholic. Beginning of a real exciting, as we would expect, exciting day of championship basketball here on Sports Time Ohio.
Yeah, it's only the tip of the iceberg here, Reg. You got the Division-1 and the Division-2s tonight. Going to be some exciting games there. But, you know, in this one, you can kind of talk about X's and O's and try to diagram stuff or whatever. But it was just too big, too strong, too talented for VASJ. Give a ton of credit to LCC. Showed the heart of a lion, competed their butts off, but a little bit too much for VASJ.
Picture time now for the champions here at Value City Arena. Matt Sylvester, great job by you, my man. Well done.
You make it easy.
We'll look forward to doing it again.
Likewise.
All the best. Del Angeles St. Joseph, Division-3 champs. They win the rematch over Lima Central Catholic. Defiance Cleveland Central Catholic, Division-2 state championship coming up. Producer Gene Winters, Director Steve Warren, all of the crew, terrific job. Andre Knott, Matt Sylvester. I'm Michael Reghi. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. So long.